This is the Grow Business Podcast with Cory Mosley.
A lot of energy in here today.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys, you and Willie H, I don't know, came in guns a-blazing.
Music working.
Impressed, everything. Everybody, Lucy. Everybody must be having a good week. We're recording this at the top of the week, so maybe that's what it is. The week hasn't kicked our butts yet. We haven't got punched in the face yet, you know. Had somebody no-show on a call. I had an appointment canceled at the last moment. I got a guy, he's playing appointment hopscotch with me.
Really?
He's moved. This is the downside to having a meeting calendar that people could just get on.
Right.
I think he's on his 4th or 5th reschedule.
Oh, is that
so
right?
he probably
Okay.
listens to the podcast. Shout out. I'm not naming any names right now. Eventually, maybe I will talk to you. Before you hear this, I don't know.
Let's say by the time this airs,
Let's hedge. Yeah, so it's and it's like always last minute. So like I was literally supposed to have a call this morning.
Okay.
And like it was like a 10 o'clock call, and at like 9:30, I get the notification that you've been rescheduled. I'm like, this guy's playing a game. I know he's a real person,
right?
Because he's linked in with me, and I've looked up his business and everything. But I'm just like, man, he's doing that. I mean, it's frustrating stuff, right? You want to have the conversation. You want to see how you can help somebody,
right?
But they think things happen or whatever. So I can only assume that business is coming up,
right,
and whatever he's doing is more important than talking to me at this point.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, hey, I got to go take that business,
right,
or attempt to. Maybe he's got a call, or something that's come up. But so the week is still young. If you're just tuning in, you are here at the Grow Business Podcast. I'm Cory Mosley, your host for today's show. Yeah, okay. I just want to be clear. We're giving claps to the Grow Business Podcast. We're giving claps to me, Cory Mosley. Okay, one more time for everybody. Cory Mosley. All right, I like that. Of course, I'm joined in studio by the man, the myth, the legend, LG007, sport coating it up today. Lon Graham is here.
It's good to be here, Cory. It's good to see you.
Yes, he got the memo. He got the memo. More people are watching. And we have cameras in the studio. So he said, let me step it up. Let me step it up today, which he threw me off because he blew in a pullover. And I'm thinking to myself, I was on a call with a client, and I happened to go, I just rolled my eyes, kind of like, all right, here we go. Right. He still hasn't gotten the memo that we're going next level with this here. Now he's going full. He's got the nice sport coat on. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us.
Good to see you.
Also, what is he also known as, Willie H? He's also known as what? Nope, not that. Willie H. Voice of reason. Yes, Willie H, who needs to mark those buttons. Willie H is here. Notice, Lon, how he was ready with his.
Locked in.
But when we needed yours, he was off hitting symbols. I don't even know what that was. I already gave folks, we are a work in process here. We're still in the 20s. The episode count still in the 20s. So I promise you by 50, we will have it smoothed out. We'll be a well-oiled machine.
Right.
So yeah. Really exciting, interesting conversation today.
Okay.
Tailor-made for you.
Okay.
In fact.
Yay.
In fact, I'm going to let you intro the topic here today because it was your topic.
Okay.
So I'm going to let you intro it.
Well, I think what we're going to talk about today.
Well, don't think. Is that like a, I think we're going to talk about this?
No, it's I think.
Okay.
And what we're going to talk about today.
The plan
of what we're going to. There we go. That's the right word. The plan of what we're going to talk about today is engaging with and talking with gatekeepers, and how to work with gatekeepers, how to work with them to get involved in front of the people that actually make the decisions to work with you. And that's all I got.
Okay. Gatekeepers. So we're talking about gatekeepers today, particularly when we're trying to close new business. So let's give the context, right? Because that's really what we're after. So if you're listening to this, particularly from a professional services end, your insurance, anything where you're pitching business and you've got someone as a gatekeeper, because many times the gatekeeper obviously is an influencer at some point, but not the ultimate decision maker,
right,
and also is not always suited to determine if what you have is valid or not.
right.
That's the real, I think, kicker a lot of times, is that you've got someone standing in the way or in the decision process,
right,
that may not understand. Like, they're vetting it, but I'm going to go there. Go ahead. You chime in on that.
Well, gatekeepers are a built-in filter. They're an intentional filter. And the filter is protect the person's time, whoever that they're working with, protect their time. And that's the most valuable asset that person has that they're protecting. So to your point, they may not always know whether something's valuable or enough to the person that they have control over the schedule and over control over the resources and
or even just getting through, right?
Right.
Like, I remember early in the auto industry, and the receptionist was the gatekeeper of the owner.
Right.
And I got friendly with her, and she would tell me, she'd say, I always know how somebody, people will call, and of course try to sound like they know the owner. The owner's name was Ted. Okay. We went by Ted. Theodore is the formal name of most Teds, right? So she would tell me, she says, I always know when somebody doesn't know Ted is trying to get through, because they'll try to come up with these pithy, they'll be too formal or too lax.
Okay.
It's Theodore in.
Right.
I know you don't know him because he doesn't even talk that way. But that's his name. If you buy a list, it's going to list the legal name of the owner, right? So Theodore, I know. Or if they're too informal, like, it's Teddy. Let me talk to Teddy. She's like, wrong. You're going to voicemail anyway. So you've got that protection mode right there, where she couldn't put somebody on the schedule or not, but it was just the fear. Just the ability to get through. Right. She was going to make that determination. Right. Yeah,
100%. And again, it's protecting time, right? Do you have access to talk to them on the phone? Do you have access to talk to them in person? How do you get on the schedule? Because that person often, again, they're the filter to protect that person's time.
Yeah. So we're going to share 5. I've got 5 today. Okay. We're going to talk about 5 ways, strategies, tips, however you want to process it, to deal with the gatekeepers. So I think I'm going to do it different today.
Okay.
I think let's give them all 5.
Okay.
I'm just going to say them.
Okay.
And then we'll unpack them.
Okay.
So no matter what happens,
we get all 5 in. That's a good plan.
So no matter what happens, and honestly, because this is your brainchild here, I don't have the stories in the gun that I might normally have when I'm bringing the topic, because many times it's things we're dealing with already or we're seeing in the marketplace or whatever. So I've got that fresh off the boat story ready to go. But I've got to think about how gatekeepers have affected my life.
Sure. Well, and so for me, in different industries that I've worked in, I've worked with gatekeepers on the phone. I've worked with gatekeepers in person. I've worked with gatekeepers in the office. I've worked with gatekeepers as a mutual resource, right? Like we work together. So there's lots of different ways, and gatekeepers aren't just the person at the front door or aren't just the person to answer the phone. The gatekeepers come in a number of different forms. And again, it's how that person has the ability to influence accessibility.
Right. 100%. And but it does have me thinking. I'm just thinking how I've dealt with, because I think I'm such a big inbound person.
Okay.
Which is why, you're that guy dealing with gatekeepers and doing all these things. I'm just such an inbound, and by inbound, not like laying down, waiting around for things to happen, but like this medium, drives inbound activity, right? People go, hey, these guys maybe sound like they know what they're talking about. Maybe they can help us. Or the speaking, this summer now heating up. So now I'm hitting back out on the road, doing a bunch of keynote presentations and things of that nature.
That's awesome.
So it's like that piece, creates the inbound. So it's that activity. We're putting stuff out on social media versus oh, hey, really love to get on so-and-so's schedule.
Right.
And I think that's like the difference one. So, all right, I'm going to give him the 5.
I like it.
All right, let's see what you think. And then, feel free to add, whatever.
Well, we'll get through the 5 first, and then
if you got some. All right, good, because this is your wheelhouse. So, so number 1 is build rapport.
Okay.
Which we'll talk about that. And again, if I say that to most people,
right,
they'll say, oh, that's obvious. Yet they don't do it. Right. And there's not a strategy to do it.
Right. Or they don't understand what it means. Like they say, yes, it's
what
obvious.
Does that mean? Right.
What does that really mean?
Yes, that's true.
Let's get through the 5.
Yeah. Build rapport. I said I was going to do a reverse. Build rapport. Do your research. Okay. Because I when I say that, it resonates because you're a bit into that, really big. 3, provide value.
Okay.
Use referrals and introductions.
Okay.
And 5, persistence with politeness.
100%. The only thing I would do, and this, I realize this isn't in
order.
In an order.
No.
It is 5.
Yeah.
I like it. The only thing I would do is flip 1 and 2. Do your research first so that you can build rapport.
You can build rapport. Good.
Right.
I like that.
So that you can.
All right.
Go ahead.
No, so let's start with the voice of reason has reordered. He has reordered something that wasn't in any order to begin with.
Well, that's the challenge with going through all 5, right?
Breakthrough moment. I'd like to reorder those. They're not in any order,
right,
but
exactly.
just in case, I want to be heard on the matter. Okay, so you were heard in the matter. So, folks, just rewind this. Number 1, do your research. Number 2, build rapport. Number 3, provide value. Number 4, use referrals and introductions. Number 5, persistence with politeness.
Exactly. And this is the announcement that we will no longer read all 5 at one time.
No, I like this actually. I like this.
Learned that may
just
not be the most
LG 007 reserves the right to reorder the non-order that we put them in.
100%.
All right,
Absolutely.
so do your research. Let's start there.
Well, I think what salespeople, especially in business owners, what people do really well is they research the person they're trying to get to. What they don't do well enough is research the person that they have to talk to first.
I don't think anybody does that.
Correct.
At scale.
Correct.
Well, I'm not talking about the top 1%.
Right.
I'm not talking about the real killers out there or the people that really have it down. I'm talking about average Joe and Jane, right, in their business, or they have some salespeople that are seasoned. Right. I'm using air quotes. You're watching video because I don't know what that means sometimes.
Right.
I'm a seasoned salesperson.
Good.
Great. What's that W-2 look like? That's all I want to know. Like that will tell me, right? That tells the tale. Not how long you've been in the game, how effective you are in the game, right?
100%.
That's really the key. So go ahead, because nobody does this. This is really interesting here, folks. Turn this up.
Well, and I don't, and it's not always easy to do it before you get to somebody, but pay attention when you're talking to them. So let's say we're doing an in-person, you're walking into an office, you're talking to the very first person that you meet.
Right.
That person is going to tell you things that matter to them by the way that they display their space. And so look at what they have. Right. I mean, if they've got a picture of their family, if they've got a diploma from the Ohio State University or the University of Miami, if they've got a picture of somebody that's famous,
right,
that's important to them. That's why they're displaying it. And I'll tell you one thing that ladies especially, because a lot of the offices and clinics that I go into have females at the front desk. There are women that do a great job of taking care of their nails. And when they show their hands, that shows up. It's important to them. And if you can just recognize that they put effort into taking care of themselves in that way, all of a sudden it becomes like they're human.
Right.
It humanizes them instead of trying to get past them. Right. And that's what people want, is either learn something about them before you get in there if you can. And if you can't, pay attention to something that they've demonstrated or shown that's important to them in their space, because it personalizes them and it humanizes them.
Now, this is important for a couple key reasons. Number one, we don't have the luxury of having universal commonality with everyone as LG 007 does. Okay? LG 007 is going to find something. This whether whether a fan of the G Dogs, he's whether been dragged into a town by his family during the military life. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're from Butte, Montana. LG007. Oh, you know what? I had I was through there I spent a weekend in Butte back in 82. He's going to find somebody's cousin's brother's sister's mother. You're connected somehow, right? You did something for 5 minutes to make that connection. Now, for those of us who don't have that universal connection to somebody, there is these techniques that he's talking about. And the thing I'll add to that is have genuine intent.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're faking the funk, as they say, then that comes across as condescending or disingenuous.
Right.
And then that doesn't help you get anywhere.
Right.
Right. So having that peak of interest and having that curiosity. Right. You've got to be in that frame of mind where you're actually doing that versus, because it sounds completely different when you're saying, oh, hey, I'm here to see so-and-so, or I'd like to see so-and-so. Oh, by the way, great nails.
Right.
Those are really nice. Oh, can I see those?
Right.
Versus, you're scanning the room. Oh, nice nails. Like, like your tonality and approach.
Right.
Oh, you graduated. You have a degree, Ohio State? That must be nice. Right? Like, where you're just looking for something to, so technique, folks. And that's the thing. People will take a topic. Right. They'll take a strategy and forget that there's technique to execute the strategy. I tried that rapport stuff. I tried that doing research rapport stuff, and it didn't work. Well, how abrasive were you, sir?
Well, I think for some people, it would be a better word instead of rapport to use the word personalize.
Yeah.
And I have this saying when I give talks to salespeople and I work with sales organizations is people remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And that feeling is contagious. So here's what I mean when I say that.
Yeah.
If I make you feel good about our engagement, when you tell somebody about our engagement, the person that you tell is going to catch that feeling too.
Right.
And so if they feel good, they're going to feel good about you too.
Yep.
If you made them feel icky, they're going to feel icky about you too. So personalize it in a human way.
Yeah.
It's not sneaky. It's not
correct.
But if you're going through that person to get through the gate, to get to the person you got to talk to, well, then they're going to lock the gate on you.
Right.
But if you can have a conversation and humanize that person and personalize it and make them feel like, wow, this person has, like you said, genuinely interested, it's going to completely change the game. I remember, and I'll tell this one story, and this isn't even a gatekeeper, but it's a person that I dealt with and walked and talked to on a regular basis. When I worked in surgical sales, there was a hospital up in Northern Virginia, and there was a guy, his name was Alan, legitimate name is Alan, and he was the guy that cleaned up the operating rooms after the surgery was done. And I would see him and we'd talk, and he liked to hunt rabbits and hunt squirrels on the weekends. Right. And then the warm weather, he'd go fishing.
Of course, used to do in the 90s.
Well, right, exactly.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You too, me too.
Right.
I'll skin them up and hang them.
Well, we could talk fishing. I could listen to his stories about hunting rabbits, but we could talk fishing. But the point being is that was something that mattered to him. So if I asked him about how his weekend was, did he get any? He wanted to talk about it. Right. And so it was a personalized piece, but it made it a better experience for everybody.
Yeah. Well, and again, don't want to get off topic, but you never know where someone's value is.
Right.
Someone who can open the door. So as much as we talk about, working with gatekeepers or navigating them effectively, you never know who's got the connection and how they're connected. And I remember, one of my secret favorite movies is a movie called The Associate with Whoopi Goldberg. Right. You remember that? Cuddy Ayers, where she had to basically create a white guy to get across. And Diane Weiss was in the movie as the assistant. And, before she got big and she was kind of down and out, nobody wanted to work with her. Diane Weiss' character came over and said, oh, you know who you need to call? And she said the guy's name. She's like, well, I can't get him on the phone. Nobody's taking my calls. She said, hang on a second. She dialed the assistant to assistant, right? Hey, Betty, I can't remember her character's name right now, but hey, Betty, it's whatever. Right. Do you think you can get someone on his calendar for me? And just like that, she was on the calendar to get the business. Right. Now she had to create Robert Cuddy,
Right,
make up a
exactly.
whole white dude to do it.
Right.
But the premise was that receptionist was the gatekeeper, or that relationship, because they bowled together.
Right.
Because she said, see you on the lanes next
Right.
Tuesday. Right. Her bowling friend had
Right.
control of that calendar. So
100%.
all too often people, but what's scary to me is I see this all the time. I see this at conventions. I see this when people will look at somebody's name badge,
Right.
if they don't have the right color or whatever, they don't pay them any attention. I know
Right.
people have gone to certain things, and because they weren't, whatever the ideal prospect of who they were talking to, but you don't
Right.
know who anybody knows.
Right.
That's the crazy part. You don't know, you just really don't know how people are connected. So
Right.
it's really such a short-sighted way. If you're somebody that does that, the beauty of this is you can listen to us in the comfort of wherever.
Correct.
It's an exercise I used to tell salespeople to do. I said, listen, get in your car by yourself, look in that rearview mirror, or go in the bathroom, look in that mirror when you're
Right.
alone, and ask yourself, right, did you do everything you could do today to be successful?
Right. Yeah.
I said, if you have kids, can you go to your kids every night, look them in the face, and say, daddy or mommy did everything they could do today to be successful?
Right.
If the answer is no, then you've got work to do, or there's more to be done. So it's the same thing here. If you're somebody that's been doing that, if you've been making those kinds of judgments or inferences or trying to take those kind of shortcuts, nobody knows that but you.
Right. Right. And the results bear that out, right?
Yeah.
If you have a hard time getting to the person that you're trying to get to, maybe it's because the person that you have to communicate with to get there has decided that if you're not going to be able to get along with the person you have to talk to in the beginning, you're not going to be able to get along with the person that they're protecting their time.
It's possible. Yeah. So what did we cover 2 right there?
Probably.
Did we not? Okay. Look, you got anything for us? You've been a little light on the bell today, brother. Huh? You got anything
Lord
for
have
us?
mercy.
Yeah, exactly. Push the Williams. Push the buttons, William. Hit the buttons, William. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Over there, light on the buttons. People want to know what we're going to say next. We need some segue, like dun 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 dun. We got to work on this. Send me your suggestions, folks. All right, so we knocked out 2. I like this. All right, so let's go to 3. We can keep that as 3.
Sure.
Okay, just
Yeah,
want to
we're
make
good
sure
for
we
the
got
rest of the
permission.
way.
Okay, we're good. All right, we're good going down. All right, it was the neck up that we had the problem. All right, we're in the groove now. 3. All right, 3, provide value. Provide value, right? Position yourself as a valuable resource instead of just being another salesperson. Insights, information, solutions, things that demonstrate your expertise. I wonder, we know a good few things about helping people demonstrate their expertise and authority, right?
Yeah.
And why this is powerful and funny, because we were just talking, I was just talking about a client of ours who was not able to get a meeting until that client saw an interview that he did
Right.
on our network
Right.
that allowed him to articulate in a interview format,
Right.
not a booked call sales pitch format.
Right.
That was the linchpin,
Right.
because he told me that client's advisors vehemently, I brought out the long word, vehemently, yes, vehemently. Hold on, Buckaroo. Yeah,
Vehemently.
vehemently.
There you go.
I'm a meme now. Did not want them to even talk to this guy's company.
Correct. The perception was it was dangerous.
Yes. Yeah. They were so against it. But thankfully, that business owner made their own decision.
Right.
But it was only after seeing value, right? Walking through, talking about misconceptions, the things that we design these interviews to do, right? To handle objections in an informational format or a thought leadership format.
Right.
So that was his way of providing value. But providing value, what are some of the things that you've done, you think, in the past that have provided value in terms of engagements with gatekeepers?
Well, I think that's where the research comes in. So understanding some of the things that they're dealing with, whether whether it's the company or whether it's the person at the person at the gate, the keeper of the gate, understanding things that they're dealing with. And so I think one of the things that I've done to provide value isn't directly related to the company, but to the person. Talk to the person and give them a sense of value as a person. Make them feel like they matter. They're not just sitting in a chair occupying space in between you and the person that they're trying to get to.
Right.
Sometimes the value that you provide is the value that you give when you elevate the person or when you talk to them or you engage with them as a human being. Say hello.
Say hello.
Say hello.
There you go.
Make them laugh. Make them feel, just break up their day a little bit. Other than the tasks that they're doing every day, the things that they're focused on. I know, I mean, when I'm doing cold calls, sometimes I'll call in and they say, well, that person's busy. Let me take a message. And you make them laugh, right? I was talking to somebody the other day and I was like, yeah, Lon Graham, like the crust on your favorite cheesecake. And they laughed. And then all of a sudden now that they'll remember
Look at that, something
that.
as simple.
Right. They'll remember that, well, that guy had a sense of humor.
Now listen, this is you're getting this is professional examples here. This man is a trained improv, a trained stand-up comedian.
Yes.
So, and he's ready for all of those, whether or not they're funny or not. That's not a VOC. That's not a point. You're looking for the. We're looking for the dump bump dump. That where's that one at? You were getting ready to hit the wrong button, William.
There we go. Good. Right.
But yes, Graham, like your favorite pie crust.
Right, exactly.
Today's show is being brought to you by Lon Graham, like your favorite pie crust. I like it. But yeah, value is so important. All right, number 4.
Okay.
Using referrals and introductions. And what's interesting here for me is so many people don't. It's like asking for reviews. Some people don't do it because they don't want to be a bother.
Right.
So there's so many people that whether have good customers or they've got people who know people or connected.
Right.
And they just won't ask those people.
Right.
They just won't say, hey, you know what? I'd really like to talk to XYZ, or I think I could help. I think what I do or my product or my service could help XYZ. I see you're connected with them, or looks like you're on the board with them, or your kids play together, or whatever it is. Could you make an introduction? Right. And they, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to.
Well, in this episode, we've talked about 2 examples of referrals in different forms. The example of the client who did an interview, demonstrated expertise, and at the end said, if this resonates with you, then call me and let's do it. That's a third party, independent referral, right? That's a credibility type referral. Here's what I know, and here are the people that I can help, and here's who who's I have helped.
Right.
And so the person that was watching that interview, like, that's me. I'm that person.
Right.
So that's a third party type thing, an independent referral. But we also talked about the Whoopi Goldberg movie.
Yeah.
Her assistant said, well, you should talk to so-and-so. Well, that was a person that called on her behalf and got on the calendar. People, I say this all the time, people know people like them.
Right.
So if you've worked with somebody who is very happy with the work that you're doing together and says, what can I do to help you? Say, hey, will you introduce me to such and such?
Right.
Or introduce me to people, somebody that looks like you, that does what you do. Because that's that completely removes all barriers, and that's authority. Right.
100%. And the key here is just getting over that hump to ask. Now, you may be the benefit of that, meaning I have people in my network who I know are advocating for me every chance they get.
Right.
I don't have to ask. I know I just booked a keynote presentation that was someone calling the person in charge of hiring the speaker, saying you need to have Cory Mosley at this event.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Now I had to do the interview and make sure I'm the right person and let them watch the video and all those things. But this phone call never happens.
Right.
If it's not for that person advocating for me.
Correct.
Now I've got to do my reputation made them comfortable advocating for me. And now I have to go deliver. Right. But that referral, that was passive. Right. We want to talk about active. Who do you know right now that could be helping you further your business and helping you help more people with your product or service?
Well, here's something that I think is important to talk about. Whether it's an active referral or a passive referral, you still have to earn it.
Sure.
And you earn it by doing great work.
Right.
And so if you're doing great work, then you should feel good about asking for a referral because it means you can do great work for somebody else.
Right.
So if you believe in what you're doing and you're doing great work and the people that you're currently working with are telling you that you're doing great work and you're changing and having a positive impact on their lives and their business, then you have a responsibility to ask them who else you can work with.
Correct.
Who do they know
right.
that you can do the same thing for?
100%. Voice of reason. Yeah, there you go. Voice of reason. All right, nice. We've sailed through this.
We have.
Today. This is efficiency day.
Well, we know what's coming now.
Yeah, this is efficiency day. Well, we've got the last one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're on 5.
Well, oh, wow.
All right, the magic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's probably because I wasn't loaded up with. I wasn't prepared to be derailed. I'm really racking my brain. I'm thinking about these gatekeeper experiences,
right.
and I have to pat myself on the back, I suppose. But I have just crafted. I just have never had to rely a lot on that piece. Right. So maybe, I guess I should thank you too to some degree because you blocked and tackled for a period of time. When the church say amen. You won't see me. Let me introduce you to Lon Graham. Oh, Cory, we're going to have you down here. Oh, no, let me CC Lon Graham on that. Well, it's the same. We're almost, it's interchangeable. Like, brother, you can't miss either one of us.
We have the same hairline.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, that's it right there. That's it right there. All right, number 5, persistence with politeness.
Yes.
Now, what's interesting here is you got to be persistent because we know the numbers. I think I just saw some crazy stat that somebody posted. Did I screenshot that? I was thinking I screenshot it. That was basically relative to making the point. Oh, I did screenshot it. It says I got it here. Let me see where to go. Yep, I got you. Oh, come on up, Johnny. Oh, okay. It said 2% of all sales are made on the first contact.
Okay.
3% on the second. 5% on the third, 10% on the fourth, and then 80% in the 5th through 12th contact.
Okay.
So persistence is key because I know people who give up after the first left message.
Right.
Cory, if they were interested, they'd call me back. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
Right.
Here's what I could infer there. I'd bet all the tea in China that you are not the number one salesperson.
Right.
You got something, Willie H? I'm going to bet all the tea in China that you're not the number one salesperson in your organization if that is your thought process and mentality.
Right.
I think that's a fair guess because that just doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Now, the crazy part is I share a stat like that. Right. And the majority of people still won't extend their follow-up. Right. Oh, not in my industry, Cory. If I talk to them once or twice and they haven't bought yet, they're not buyers.
Right. Lord have mercy.
Go ahead.
Well, I think you're looking for apples to fall out of the tree, right? I mean, I think that's if you only make one attempt. The key to this is persistence with politeness. And please and thank you go a long way. And a lot of people struggle to realize that please and thank you do 2 things. 1, it demonstrates an element of politeness just by saying it. 2, it forces you to slow down and be a little bit more human. Right. Like when you say, hey, please this or thank you for that, you're asking for something with kindness and when you say thank you, you're asking somebody to do something. And when they do it, you say thank you, you're recognizing that they did it. Right. So if you call up and you're making cold calls and you're making it for your 3rd time or 4th time or 5th time, say, please, hey, I'm calling to speak to so-and-so, please. Right.
Well, and I think the other side of that fence is when we talk about follow-up. Right. Follow-up is a strategy. Yes. Right? There's strategic intervals. Right. right? It's not just I'm going to call every day until somebody gets me on the phone, right?
Right.
You know, heck, it took Bud Fox. Bud Fox is a great example. Wall Street's a great example.
Correct.
Right? He doesn't get to Gordon Gekko unless he convinces Natalie at the desk or whatever her name was, right? He's got the cigars. I've got the Cuban cigars. I got this. I got that. He calls. He knows it's her birthday and Gordon's birthday. Like he knows those things, right?
Right.
So he's working that process till finally, she's like, but he's had something canceled. He's got an hour or whatever, however it went.
100%.
You know, I can get you in 3:00, but you got to get here now.
Right.
That's not happening.
Right.
If he's not polite, if he doesn't learn anything about her, if he doesn't show any genuine interest in her. So that follow-up is strategic. The intervals need to be strategic.
Right.
Demonstrating a commitment and interest in providing value.
Right.
I don't want you to buy my product or service because it enriches me.
Right.
I want you to buy my product or service because it enriches you.
Right.
And your company.
Well, and the more it enriches your client or your potential client, the more you're going to benefit from it. I mean, that's part of the deal.
What do you think the line is between persistence and, because there's also this pushy. I don't want to be pushy, Cory. I don't want to be aggressive. I don't want to be, what do you tell people on that?
Well, I think it depends, right? It depends on so many different things. One, it depends on how you approach it. Are you, well, I called, did you get my email? Did you read my email? Did you see this? Did you see that?
You're going to miss out.
Right.
If you don't get my stuff.
Right. Pushy. I'm
going to sell it to everybody you know in your area.
Well, and so it's a couple of things, right? One, there are intervals, often a week, 2 weeks, depending on the sales cycle, the length of your sales cycle, depending on so many different things. But structure and engagement on a regular basis is important, because really what happens a lot of times in buying situations, and when somebody ultimately makes a decision to buy in a competitive environment, they're making a decision to buy when you're not there. They're not making the decision to buy when you're standing in front of them.
Right.
You may be signing the contract, but you're signing a contract because they made a decision to buy, and now they've invited you in to close a deal.
Right.
So persistence and polite persistence, going back to number 4 or number 5, whichever one, is you're creating an environment where when they have to make a decision to buy, or when they do make the decision to buy, they think about you as part of that decision-making process.
Right.
If you call them once and they're not ready to buy for 6 weeks and you never call them back, like they're not thinking about it today because they're not ready to make that decision.
Correct.
So that's not on them. That's on you.
That's right.
That's on you for not being there for them.
For sure. Well, there it is. So we talked about those 5.
Say amen.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about those 5 in the LG 007 order. But ultimately, your success within those things we talked about is really boiled down to a combination, I would say, of 3 things. See if you agree. Interpersonal skills.
100%.
Strategic thinking.
Yes.
And persistence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, it's got we got the hard takeaways today. I like that. I like that. I hope you like the efficiency of today's episode also. But I think we're going to leave it there. I mean, I think we worked it. I think people have some actionable steps, to this process here. And I think they'll have some tangibles. We love your feedback. We love your comments as long as they're positive. Keep them coming. If you have something to say negative, keep it to yourself. That's what I say. That's the best place for it, is internally. No, man, this is great. This is great. Great information here. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I think we're going to leave it there. I don't want to belabor the point. As usual, before we go, I want to thank everybody. Yeah. Thank you for coming back week after week. Thank you for your listenership, whether you're streaming this on the audio platform or you're seeing that we've got dressed up just for you on our YouTube stream and on the Cory Mosley website. But we want to thank you. It's important. Keep sharing this. Share this with business owners, people who need to hear this message, people who want some actionable ideas. There's a tremendous amount of information out there, and as I always say, Lon and I are not here to be your gurus, but we want to share some information that's proven effective, maybe through trial and error, some failure, some success, and also give you an opportunity to potentially reactivate, reactivate some parts of your business and parts of your execution of your business that maybe you just have let go. Whether complacency is set in, you've become stuck, you've become stalled. I call it stuck, stalled, or stagnant. 3 S's, right? Maybe that's kicked in. So maybe it's about re-energizing, re-sparking that, using us as a tool for that. So we are happy to be here. Thankful for you. Lon, any closing words?
Well, I think, to add to what you said, first of all, thank you for the people that are still here and that continue to come back. I think to reinforce your point, Cory, we're talking about how to grow. We're talking about how to get new business. So the message is grow and growth.
Yep.
And we're not dismissing anybody who doesn't want to do that, or we're not dismissing. We're not saying that it's okay for you not to want to grow, but all the things that we talk about, meeting new gatekeepers, developing new business, talking to new people, getting referrals, all the things we talked about today are with the emphasis of helping you grow your business.
Right.
And so thanks for helping us grow our podcast, and thanks for helping us do this. And please keep coming back, and please invite your friends.
We will leave it there. Willie H., it's been another episode of the Grow Business Podcast. We will see you next week. Willie H. is going to take us out.